Welcome to Rosemount High School and the 2021 school year. My name is Mr. Finley, one of the assistant principals here at Rosemount High School. Today we're going to go through our students' rights and responsibilities, policies, and guidelines for students. RHS student expectations. Respect the rights of others, attend class, and be on time each period and every day. Initiate communication with teachers to complete work missed. Give your best effort in class, in the community, and just being a person. Adhere to school policies and rules. Maintain a safe and fun learning environment. Every day at Rosemount High School, we say the Pledge of Allegiance. It is a patriotic exercise and part of what it looks like to be an American. The Pledge of Allegiance shall be said on every day. Individuals who wish to opt out of reciting it may respectfully do so. It is customary to stand, remove your casual hat wear, and place your right hand over your heart.
Good morning, Rosemount High School. My name is Dr. Conboy, one of the assistant principals. First, let's talk about our after-school policy. Of course, our after-school policy this year is different than previous years. Students should be exiting the building at the end of the school day based on your dismissal time, and that is freshmen at 1:36, sophomores at 1:38, and juniors and seniors on the bell at 1:40. Students should, again, plan on leaving the building unless they have an official reason for remaining in the building. Students who have sports practices, which begin at 3:15 or 3:30, may wait in the student center, remaining socially distanced, and also having work and whatnot to complete in the student center. And again, at 3 o'clock, the student center will close. Passes. Students are reminded that they should not, to the greatest extent possible, make appointments on days when they should be in school. In other words, make appointments on your non-hybrid days. If you must leave the building, your parents are to web in your absence. Then the attendance clerk will email your teacher. The nurse's office is very different this year. In the past, ibuprofen, Tums, cough drops, and so forth were provided for students. This year, none of those services will be available. The nurse's office is reserved for first aid, injuries, and illnesses. School bus expectations. Remember that school buses are an extension of the classroom. This also includes the school bus waiting area in front of the school, as well as the bus stop near your home. Bus passes. On occasion, a student may need to ride a different bus home. If you need a bus pass, make sure that you do so during lunch on the day that you need the pass. You must have something in writing from your parents and present it to one of the assistant principal's team members to get your bus pass. Also keep in mind that that's not a guarantee that you may board. The buses must maintain a 50% or less occupancy, and if you would cause that to be greater than 50%, you will not be allowed to ride. Also a reminder that this year there is a strict visitors policy. In other words, visitors are not allowed to be in the building. Parking. As you know, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders, we have been selling parking permits online for about 3 weeks. All student cars must have parking permits affixed behind the rearward mirror. Students must never park in the staff parking lot and never park in the school bus area. In addition, students must only take up one parking stall, make sure that their parking pass is displayed, and follow all parking lot rules in terms of safe driving. That talks about how fast you should be going, especially in the winter when the inbound roads are slippery.
Let's touch base on the search of lockers. Though we have not issued many lockers this school year, there are still some students that have lockers for sports, lockers for Phi-Ed, and some lockers that we have distributed. If you do have a locker, know that it can be searched by any time and is the property of District 196. Let's touch base on dressing and grooming. We know you will only be here a couple days a week, so you probably want to come with your best dressed every day. Let's stay away from t-shirts that are discriminatory, gang-related, abusive, advertise drugs or alcohol, and even tobacco. Any dress or grooming that is disruptive will not be allowed and will be taken care of or reported to the assistant principal's office, to myself or Dr. Conboy. The next big item to touch base on is the nuisance items, and by that, we're talking about cell phones. Students are immediately to comply with their teachers' directions regarding personal electronics. Recording without staff's knowledge is strictly prohibited, and students violating this policy may be suspended. Violation of this rule will result in confiscation of your equipment and disciplinary consequences. If items are confiscated, it can be up to 45 days, and your parents would have to come pick it up. Now let's just walk through that step by step. Cell phones. The first time, you're going to get a warning from your teacher. And some teachers may give that warning on the first day of school. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you a warning right now. Don't have your cell phone out in class unless the teacher has given you permission to do so. There, it's been recorded and documented. The second time you have your phone out, the teacher will confiscate that phone till the end of the hour. It's not up for debate. It's not up for discussion. Just comply with the teacher. 100% of our teachers have their own personal device in this building and do not want yours. Teachers will confiscate your phone the third time until the end of the day and send an email home to parents. The fourth time it happens, the phone will be bringing down to administration, and your parent will have to come pick up your phone, and it will be gone out of the building for 5 days. If it happens a fifth time, your phone will be given up to administration, and it will be out of the building for 45 school days. And if you're here half the time, which you are right now, and it happened yesterday, your phone will be out of here till April 21st. So you'll see signs that say red zone, green zone. Bathrooms, automatic red zone. Do not have your phone out in the bathrooms. As much as I know you guys like to take pictures of yourself, don't use the mirror in the bathrooms as an opportunity to take a picture. That segues into restrooms. Do not play with the light switches, okay? They're on, leave them on. Don't cut them off when your buddy's in the stall. No non-conforming activities in the bathrooms. And just so you all know, we do search the bathrooms randomly. Teachers, administrators are all monitoring the bathrooms very frequently. The elevator is not meant for general use. Take the stairs. They're a lot more accessible, especially with the one-way directional stairways during passing time. You must have a pass from the nurse to use the elevator, and one person is needed in addition to support you on that if you have a pass. There's no holding the door, and if you choose to get on the elevator, you'll spend some time in detention or ISS. Leaving school. Leaving campus during lunch is strictly prohibited. Do not have your parents call you out for lunch. Do not do that. Under no circumstances may a student leave the school building without first obtaining permission. Let's talk a little bit about the lunchroom. This year we are running 4 lunches and we are moving students through the line very efficiently, thanks to our great lunch staff. We do not allow theft out of the lunchroom. We do look at it case by case, but you will be paying back or paying for that lunch if you choose to steal out of the lunchroom. Quick announcement on career development. If you have shuttle bus questions, see Miss Dewhurst in the front security vestibule at the main entrance, and she will have information for you in regards to career development. And now, Dr. Conboy, a few comments on student attendance.
This is a reminder on the 3 days that you are not in person in school that you should use the campus app to check in on your your attendance. Again, you have to intentionally check in on campus app on your 3 days, that includes Wednesday, of course, that you are not in school.
Students' rights and responsibilities. Consequences apply whether the misbehavior took place at school, other district property, or activity in a district vehicle, at a bus stop, or other locations affecting school programs or activities.
Students, Rosemont High School is safe because of you, because you feel comfortable to report things that might cause a disruption to our school or that might impact our safety. And you can do so always anonymously by talking to an administrator, or you can use the Rosemont Confidential website, and Mr. Finley will discuss that.
Now, if you haven't noticed, our website has been updated. It's very nice and pretty. The Rosemount Confidential is available under the Families tab. Scroll down, you'll see Rosemount Confidential in alphabetical order, and once you click on the form, it looks the same as it has in years past.
Students, thank you very much for doing a great job in our parking lot the first couple of days of school. As you noticed when you drove in and parked your car, you saw that our southwest lot has been coned off. We are using that lot for an outdoor classroom so that your teachers can get kids outside and use that large space so that you can have an enriched learning experience. Also want to talk about search of vehicles. As soon as your car drives onto our property, it is subject to search whether or not you've gotten a parking permit. So be aware of that. And just so that you're aware, we do bring in canine detection dogs into the parking lot a couple times per year. And again, that's for your safety.
Now we're going to touch a little bit on hazing. I've been here, this is my 5th year here at Rosemount High School. And in my 5 years, I have not witnessed or nothing has been reported to us in regards to hazing. But we still have to cover it. And that's one thing that's great about working at Rosemount High School. There's some things that we have to talk about that don't traditionally happen here, but by law we have to discuss them. So hazing, committing an act against a student or coercing a student into committing an act that creates substantial risk of harm or holds a student up to ridicule in order for the student to be initiated into or affiliated with the student organization. That behavior will result in suspension, if repeated, possible expulsion, and is a state high school league violation, and you could miss a couple games of competition or more depending on the severity. Abuse, verbal, written, or otherwise expressed. Arousing alarm in others through the use of language that is discriminatory, abusive, bullying, threatening, or obscene. Also through electronic communication. This can also result in suspension or expulsion if repeated. Bullying. Before I touch base on bullying, it is not tolerated at Rosemount High School. Every student has the opportunity to be their best self here and accomplish any goal or dream that they aspire. And no one individual or group of individuals is going to get in the way of that. At RHS, the definition of bullying means intimidating, threatening, abusive, or harming conduct that is objectively offensive. And there is an actual perceived imbalance of power between the student engaging in the conduct and the target of the conduct. If you feel like you're being bullied, report it. If you witness somebody being bullied, watching it happen is just as bad as watching as the person that's doing it. So report it. We need to support each other in this building. That segues into cyberbullying. Same thing, except now we're using those cell phones, which we know kids can be pretty impulsive in your developmental stage on how you just hit a button. Sometimes you don't even think about what that process looks like, and you've already hit send. And now the regret happens. I wish I didn't. I shouldn't have. Well, you know what? It's too late. You hit the button, and now it's been pushed out to over maybe 1,000 people, maybe 10,000 people. Yeah, most of you guys probably don't have as many followers as me, so maybe it's more like 50. So cyberbullying. is defined as using technology or other electronic communication, including but not limited to a transfer of a sign, signal, writing, image, sound, or date, including a post on social network, internet, website, or forum, transmitted through a computer, cell phone, or other electronic device to bully another. That's a great segue into social media. Social media has pros and cons. Short term, it could be healthy and appropriate. There are healthy and appropriate comments. There are healthy and appropriate reactions to comments. But we also know, again, at your developmental stage, you're impulsive. You're looking for and seeking instant gratification. There's research on that. That kids are looking, they appreciate when somebody likes or shares something that they post. There's a chemical that develops in your body, and all of a sudden it makes you feel good. But we also know that social media is full of distractions and can create a ton of drama in our building. The long-term impact, it can be healthy and appropriate. And we know that comments, again, can be healthy and appropriate. But we also know that there could be a loss of control or being in control by what is posted. You can post something in 7th grade, and here you are a senior, and what you posted in 7th grade comes back to bite you 5 years later. And unlike when I was a kid, back in the 80s, when pictures faded, unfortunately, when you guys post things, those pictures don't fade. They maintain a bright and resilient color and really have a greater impact on you later in life than they did when you were, say, 14 or 13 years old. And let's also talk about addiction with cell phones. Do you brush your teeth before you pick up your cell phone? Do you sit down and maybe eat dinner with your family or guardians without your cell phone? What do you do before you pick up your cell phone? Or is picking up the cell phone the first thing you do? Alcohol or chemical abuse or possession. Any of those things are strictly prohibited in our building or with our students, and can result in up to a 10-day suspension, a chemical health assessment, and a referral to law enforcement, because it is a criminal activity. If you intend to sell drugs in our building, including prescription medication, that will result in expulsion and a police referral. Careless driving. Now, I know Doc talked about the parking lot and things of that nature, but I'd like to take this slide away from him because there's nothing that gets under his skin more than somebody driving careless in our parking lot that puts people's safety at risk. You will get your parking permit revoked. You will be suspended. And if you continue that behavior, you could be expelled. And you will definitely be referred to law enforcement. Tobacco and e-cigs, or vapes. Possessing, using, or distributing tobacco on any district, on property, event, or building is strictly prohibited. We are a tobacco-free school district. Those actions will result in suspension and a police referral and criminal prosecution. Let's touch base on vaping just a little bit here. Just some quick facts. It's just as dangerous as cigarettes. It lowers the blood's ability to fight infections, and we know right now we don't need to lower anybody's ability to fight any type of infection. Popcorn lung, permanent scar buildup in your lungs and destroys the lungs' smaller airways. The vapes can explode. Nicotine levels are loosely monitored. So you may think you're taking one puff on a vape, but that nicotine level is so high that you've just smoked 15 cigarettes. You're also inhaling metal particles in that vapor smoke. Let's think about that. Who wants metal floating around their body? It also contains formaldehyde or embalming fluid. From my understanding, and if you're sitting with a science teacher, feel free to ask them. Embalming fluid is what they use for people when they've passed away to preserve their body so they can have an open casket. If I want to be living, I sure don't want to be putting something in my body that's meant for people who aren't here anymore. Let's touch base on physical assault. acting with intent to cause fear in another person or immediate bodily harm or death, intentionally bullying or inflicting harm on somebody. If you choose to put your hands on somebody and they do not fight you back and they just defend themselves, you will be charged with assault and suspended from school. That means we're going to look to criminally charge you and also seek criminal prosecution. Fighting. You know, if you choose to get into a fight, punch back, get into a fight, both of you will be suspended and you will be criminally prosecuted. Now, since we're talking about fighting and a physical assault, I just want to mention that that's not something that happens a lot at Rosemount High School. Last year, I think we might have had 3 fights. In a school of 2,400 plus kids, that's great. We can live with that. And we resolve those things so they don't continue to escalate. So if you do get into an altercation, just know that it's not going to be over when you guys say it's over. It's going to be over when we say it's over, because we need to make sure that you can have a successful experience in this building. And you also know how to do conflict resolution. Let's touch base on harassment. Participating in or conspiring with others to engage in an act that injures, bullies, degrades, intimidates, or disgraces other individuals, including indecent exposure, displaying pornography, and harassing words or actions that negatively impact on an individual or group, suspension, expulsion, police referral, and criminal prosecution. And we know that there are social media things that happen. Just don't be the one that continues to add on to it. We know it's there, but we know if you add your 2 cents into it, somebody adds their 2 cents, eventually we got a whole dollar that we're trying to clean up. And that is impacting somebody, not just the individual, but also their family. Sexual violence. A physical act of non-consensual, intentional touching of another person's intimate parts under their clothing, or the intentional touching of another person's intimate parts under their clothing where the consent of the victim is not a defense under Minnesota's criminal code. If you participate in that activity, we do seek expulsion, register you with violent student behavior within the school district, and there are criminal charges associated with that. Let's touch base on weapons or look-alike weapons. Possessing any firearm or look-alike weapon or knife, any device capable of producing bodily harm, action taken by administration is expulsion, a police referral, and criminal prosecution. So to touch base a little bit, we have a school resource officer in our building, Officer Jason Waggy. We work with our school resource officer a lot different than other schools that I've worked at in the past. It's very collegial, and Dr. Conboy has done a great job in onboarding Officer Waggy to understand what our community looks like and what we need from him to best support our community. So you will see Officer Waggy in the halls. You will see Officer Waggy in the lunchroom, greeting students, having conversations with students. Just because Officer Waggy is having a conversation with somebody doesn't mean that they are in trouble. He is just having a conversation, and it will be with 6 feet social distance. But we do get law enforcement involved, and he spearheads that, or is the lead on that, if there is involvement of breaking the law, such as a minor in possession of alcohol or chemical abuse or possession. Fighting, physical assault, harassment, hazing, tobacco, possessing weapons or look-alike weapons, or cyberbullying. Just to recap some of those things that we discussed. Last but not least, I know that we are all in a different place right now. This is not a norm, but it is going to become our new norm as we start moving forward. And it's good to have everybody back in the building, even if it's only a couple days a week. But I want to discuss our Rosemount High School Honor Code. I'm going to read this verbatim, as it is very important that we stick to this, especially in these times where we're treating you like college students. more like young adults, when you are more independent, and we are giving you that level of independency to show that you can be successful and what your outcome is in regards to your academics and post-high school career. First, I'll do my own homework. I'll respect intellectual property and copyright laws. Do not share information about tests. Collaborating or working together is prohibited unless permitted by the teacher. Do not pressure other students to cheat. If it doesn't feel right, it isn't. It's important that you listen to your gut. When in doubt, ask a teacher. Group chats, distance learning, homework groups, etc. Those can get complicated. If I observe someone cheating or feel pressure to cheat, I have a responsibility to uphold the honor code. So I know there's a lot of, some kids have created study groups. You know, I think that's awesome that you guys have created study groups and have a safe social network, because this human social interaction is important. We don't want kids isolated in their rooms. But you and your families have created these social networks where you guys have created healthy study groups, where you know the families have good habits and are maintaining safe practices during this pandemic. But do your own homework. If somebody's going to give you some help on a math problem because they're great in geometry, yep, it's okay to get some help. But do your own homework. Don't copy. That's important. If a teacher's given an exam and it's online, it's important that you do that exam, because when the rubber meets the road, the truth will come out. If you studied, if you know your academics, the truth will come out. Let's think about that. You're going to take college entrance exams. Say, for example, the ACT. I can guarantee you 100% you won't be cheating on the ACT. But if you cheated your way through chemistry or Algebra 2, boy, it sure is going to show on that ACT. And you're going to be wondering why you got a 16 instead of a 32. Because our teachers are capable of making you get that 32, supporting you to get that 32. So if you have questions, reach out to them. If you're in need of some support, reach out to them. They have office hours before school from 1:40 to 2 p.m. and from 3 to 3:30. Reach out to them. Our teachers care more than you can possibly imagine. They are here every day during a pandemic. That tells you how much they care about who you become as a citizen of this country. 2021 school year is going to be like no other. But with these students, this community, this group of teachers, I'm excited to see what's in front of us. The next slide I'm going to put up is going to be of the bus loop and where the buses are located after school. Teachers, please permit students to take pictures of this bus map so they'll have a better idea of where their bus is staged after school. Thank you, Rosemount High School. We appreciate everything, and we're glad to be back. And we look forward to seeing Cohort A on Monday, Cohort B. We'll see you on Tuesday.